gentlemen, welcome to the Sly Fox Sports podcast. We're back. It's been a little bit. I'm with my co-host, Aaron Nix. Or this way, or whichever way. Yep. And we are doing an NFL football review of Week 10. So, how are you, Mr. Nix?
Marvelous.
Marvelous.
Yes, I've got all the picks. I've got all the results done. I've got an army of notes right here. Trust me, we're getting more and more professional. Well, I am by a minute. So yeah, no, I'm good to go.
I'm not wearing
I watched
my hoodie
every
anymore.
single game extensively. What?
I'm not wearing my hoodie. I'm wearing nice. I'm looking sharp.
I'm glad you think so.
Ha ha! Fuck you.
All
right.
Hey, if they're going to tell you that, that's fine. That's fine.
Right.
There's a reason why he needs a background and I don't, because my house looks nice.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Get on with it. What we got first?
All right. First, might as well, go down the road. Thursday's game, Indianapolis and Tennessee. Wow, did I not see this one coming at all? Who did you have in this one, sir?
I believe we both had the Titans in this. Let me just check, actually. I do have the picks as well on a separate window. The postman has just delivered a green screen. Good timing, bro. For fuck's sake. Yeah, we both had the Titans winning this, and that turned out to be a bit of a mistake because the Colts, they didn't run them over, but I watched this obviously live, the Thursday night game. I watched all the televised games. I then watched really extensive highlights after the fact with anything that I didn't see in red zone. A lot of notes, as you can see, mostly exclaiming how shit the Titans special teams are, because that's where I want to really start. I've got the stats written down here. Tannehill, right? 15 of 27. Okay, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. It's not a terrible outing. However, the stats don't always, they always say the numbers don't lie. Yeah, but sometimes they cover up some of the actual truths. And one of the biggest problems that this game had was the fact that the stats don't tell you how poorly executed special teams were. And I'll give you an example. It's all cruising. It's all looking very tight. I did say that the Colts would likely cover because they're a very tough very tough team. I wasn't expecting them to go the distance the way they did. On the flip side of things, Rivers was 29 of 39, 308 yards and a touchdown, and that's not including what had happened on special teams. But there was a state during this game, 3 straight possessions for the Titans, right? I'll read them out. So first one is a punt by Trevor Daniel. He shanks it for just 17 yards. So the Colts pick it up in their half, and on the ensuing possession, score a touchdown with Hines. So it is what it is. Next possession for the Titans, they punt again. Punt is blocked and returned immediately for a touchdown. Next possession for the Titans, field goal missed by Gostkowski. Special teams. So Tannehill for me is a reasonably high IQ quarterback. Is he elite? No, but he's definitely excellent. I'd like to put it in layers. I have elite, which is 2 or 3 guys, then I have excellent, and then I have everything else essentially average, and then Drew Lock right at the bottom. Just saying. And we'll get to that. I've got notes galore for that, I'm sure. And called it, as always. You don't listen, Broncos fans. You should listen to me. I should run this franchise. But, yeah. It was the weapons that really told. Pittman Jr., for instance, this stud wide receiver, fastly becoming a very excellent wideout. He looked elite against this defense. This defense does have problems, but the special teams just kept coughing up points. Gostkowski, he's been so erratic, and I like Gostkowski, the guy, the player. I'm sorry, but, I've seen every other franchise boot their kicker, quite literally, for this nonsense. He has to be removed at this point. He's making too many mistakes. He's missed 8 field goals on the season now, 8. And you have one job, and that is to swing your leg and swing it well, sunshine, And the really funny thing is the average footballer that takes penalties over here, soccer players, as you like to call them, if you missed 8 penalties, you would cease to take penalties ever again. Simple as that. The average top quality striker wouldn't even dream of missing 8 in a season, even if they took 30. It's a terrible percentage. Not to mention, he's missed extra points as well. Huh?
Even if they were Lookman?
I mean, Lookman is an exception. Lookman is, he's Make-A-Wish at this point, so he won't be getting away with it. And for anyone who's into both sides of football, you'll know exactly what he's talking about. With that shocking penalty that idiot from Fulham took, and he'll be feeling my wrath should Fulham survive again.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, no. Do you know what does bother me? AJ Brown, 1 reception for 21 yards. That's not good enough. Ball needs to be got to. He's your stud wide receiver. Okay, Derrick Henry, right? Good game, but again, Derrick Henry is a weird proposition. Clearly one of the 2 best running backs in the league, alongside, I'd say, Dalvin Cook. That's my personal opinion. For me, though, he's the kind of guy who needs to have a 200-yard game to be really good. Like, the average running back will have a 100-yard game, and that's considered excellent, if not elite at times. With Derrick Henry, he can cough up 250 yards worth of offense as a running back and still only get you 1 touchdown. And then you start to think on the flip side of things, yeah, that's elite, but at the same time, we need even more production from that. You've got to be, Dalvin Cook gets those numbers. He's getting 3 or 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry has those numbers, and you think, okay. So, 103 yards, 19 carries, no touchdowns. But for me, it was the special teams that were the biggest problem. Clock management was poor as well, I thought. But like I say, it's those 3, and I've just put as the last note, no duh, they're losing. Like, if you go 3 possessions like that, you're not going to win games. On the flip side, though, the Colts, I think this is probably the best game I've ever seen Rivers have. Now, obviously, as a Broncos fan for many years against the Chargers, I wasn't exactly crawling up the wall to watch Rivers play football for the Chargers. But whenever we played him, he played us quite tough. I genuinely think this might be one of his all-time best performances. With the lights on, everything shining. And let's not forget as well, now all of a sudden their division has gone. Titans. Last week they pick up a decent win. You're thinking, okay, they might have righted the ship a little bit. This was their big test with their divisional rivals, a team they're doing, what everyone said the Bears could do but didn't. This is what the Colts are actually doing. And also, to be fair, Nyheim Hines as well, 1 rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown, over 100 yards of total offense. Awesome player, proper stud. He's got a real chip on his shoulder as well. He's got weapons. He's got Pittman Jr. They've got a very good throwing game. The running game is quite soft, but they obviously didn't play to that. And they know when they play teams, if you can throw a lot of yardage and make good on that without throwing too many interceptions, you're going to have a good time. And that's what happened with the Colts. I think the Colts now are in the driving seat of this division. It's theirs to lose because the Titans' schedule's not going to get any easier. And ultimately, they're going to face each other again, I believe, in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
That right there will pretty much decide who wins this division. I still think the Titans will get in, most likely, as a wild card. But right now, I see way too many problems. That being said, 2 years ago, we're all acting like Titans. You've blown it. 2 years ago, we didn't really give a shit about the Titans. So there's been a massive amount of progression under Tannehill. With Tannehill under center, and with Derrick Henry, obviously, as the back, there's been a massive amount of progression. You've got AJ Brown, who's only going to improve, young talent. If you're a Titans fan, yeah, you're a bit disappointed that you've slipped like this, but at the same time, you've still got many years of good coverage to come.
They still got a chance.
Yeah,
they still got a chance to do it.
That'd be fine. I'm not going to push the self-destruct button just because, I think they've lost 3 of their last 4. But, and 2 of those were against, the Ravens and the Steelers. So, they're not exactly, they're not crawling down, they're not falling on their assholes, but, they're going to have to dig in a bit more. But it's a good win for the Colts. And now, if people aren't paying attention to the Colts now, then they probably never will. But I've got my eye on them. All of a sudden, they've woken me up, and I've got to say, they play good football as well. And I critique them for being a bit boring, but this was anything but boring. It was an exciting game.
Tennessee's got their next 3 games are probably their biggest 3. They've got Baltimore this coming week. Then they've got Indy on the rebound, and then they got Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, judging from what I saw from Cleveland, they shouldn't have a problem with them, but then they shouldn't have had a problem with the Bengals, and they laboured to a victory there. So, I understand coming into the big games, obviously once they walloped the Bills, and they had a kind of backlog, didn't they? And everyone thought they were going to play catch up and they were going to struggle because of what happened with the COVID outbreak and everything. And then they walloped the Bills, and you thought, okay, these guys are legit. And all of, even the Bills, despite their loss, look pretty. They've righted the ship as well.
Oh.
The Titans are the only team I'm looking at right now that look like they're struggling to right their own ship. Everyone else is getting bounce back wins pretty quickly. We saw the Buccaneers did this weekend. And that was against fairly decent opposition as well. Tennessee against the Colts, always knew it was going to be a tough game, a close game. But ultimately, if you want to be a contender or at least a division winner with a decent opportunity in the playoffs, you have to win your division ultimately. And if you can't beat your division rivals, you're going to be in trouble. But they got way too many weapons to not be taken seriously.
Absolutely.
So if they get in as a wild card, they kind of snuck in the back door a little bit last season. Then all of a sudden they found themselves in the AFC Championship, and nobody had the Titans at the beginning of the season in the AFC Championship. It's just because we know what they are now. Now that we're aware of them, now all of a sudden we scrutinise them. That's how sports works. That's how media works. If you don't give, like Leicester, for instance, everyone's like, Leicester, fuck off, nobody gives a shit. All of a sudden they win the title, they're like, Jesus Christ, then the following season, like, yeah, you're shit now, fuck off, we all hate you, but, all that kind of stuff. Nobody cared about them beforehand. That's how the media works. It's fickle in that regard. I'm not going to push the self-destruct button on the Titans just yet.
No, not at all.
What's next?
Next,